Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Three Essential Questions. I am the host, Pam Myers, and my co-host, Erica Yoakum, with Virtual Personal Assistance. We do this every Thursday morning, as most of you probably know, at 9:30, and then we record the event and we showcase it on several social media platforms. And the goal is to talk with different business owners throughout our area and get their answers to our three essential questions. Our guest today is Isaac Rivas-Savell. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Savell, but great.
Savell. Okay, thank you. Isaac is the founder and head of school at Voss Collegiate School. Voss Collegiate Preparatory Charter School is a 6 to 8 grade middle school with a focus on computer science, oral literacy, and social justice. It's been quite a journey for Isaac in getting this school approved, which I'm sure we'll hear a little bit. I hope we hear a little bit about that. The school will now open its doors in Albuquerque in August of 2021. So Isaac, welcome.
Thank you so much, Pam. Yes, it's definitely been a journey to get to the starting line. Many have said, you have made it across the finish line. No, we have not. We authorized, and so we're right at the starting point of authorizing and launching this school successfully. And I would be remiss if I, didn't extend a large amount of gratitude to you, Pam, to your chamber, because of the, unwavering support that you all provided. You all were really pivotal in getting us to getting authorized. And so I can't say enough about how grateful I am about your support. So thank you for that.
You're absolutely welcome. Yeah.
Now, say those three things again, because it sounded like everything that I got crap for in middle school, because I was like the nerd who was into the computers and I was into the, the social part of it and all that. And I got like in trouble, people looked at me like I had three eyeballs. It sounds like you're like building this whole thing around the cool kids like us, like me.
Absolutely. Listen, yes, absolutely. Computer science is huge, right? And what is it that we're trying to do with this school? What we're trying to do is we're trying to, change the economic landscape of Albuquerque. And how do we do early exposure to alternative pathways for our students? In New Mexico, we're only graduating about 42% of our students with a computer science degree, and only about 16% of those students are women. And so there's definitely an opportunity here to really capitalize on that and ensure that all of our students collectively, starting at the 6th grade level, have that exposure to computer science. And what does that look like for our students? That means that, in all of their core content areas, they're going to be exposed to computer science. It's going to be spiraled through every single core subject class that they take. There's also going to be a separate computer science class where they're building foundational skills so that they can then apply those skills to other core content areas. I didn't want us to just be labeled a computer science school just for the sake of being a computer science school. And so I didn't want this computer science class to just be a throwaway elective. I wanted it to be woven into the DNA of who the school is. In terms of the the social justice piece, the name of the school is voice, and oral literacy is a huge part of our curriculum as well. Speech and debate is going to be a core content area for our students. And how do we equip our students with the supports, the skills to be able to express themselves and articulate their opinions in such a way that is fact-based, but is also rooted in their own experiences, right? Experiences are very important, but I also want to make sure that our kids have the facts to support those opinions. And I think in the current state of our nation, the political climate, it's so critical for to stand up, to have a voice, to really feel empowered. And how do we do that? We do that through the power of voice. And I think when we harness that power of voice in our students, that awakens the power of self. And I think that students then, once they harness that, once that power of self is awakened, then the sky's the limit for them, honestly.
Yeah. What were those two numbers that you threw out? You said 42%.
Yes, yep, New Mexico is graduating 42% of their college population in computer science, and 16% are female. And so those are pretty staggering numbers, alarming numbers, and there's an opportunity. There's a huge opportunity. There are a large number of tech companies that are trying to find a way to get into Albuquerque, but we just don't have the talent pool. And I think we've done the research. We've looked at what opportunities there are for kids, and this is it. This is the avenue that we've taken for the school.
Oh,
very cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
Those are pretty staggering numbers. So our first question then is, what have you learned about yourself during this whole COVID-19 crisis?
What have I learned about myself? How much time do we have? How many days? This is, one of my major takeaways from this entire experience has been that, I've been isolated with my husband, and that time is a gift. That, we've been given the gift of time to really reflect, to learn, to process, and reprioritize our relationships with family members or friends who we've, perhaps lost touch with. And now this time has really allowed us to be creative in how we reach out, and how do we stay connected with one another, because that connectivity is just so essential, especially to our mental health.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stress enough just what do we do with this time, because it's really important, this experience, just better, more well-rounded individuals. On a personal level, I've taken the time to prioritize my own physical and my own spiritual health. And you've been on this journey with me, since the very beginning, and I've taken on the enormous and very worthwhile task of leading and founding a school from the ground up. And so in order for my team and I to be able to deliver on the ambitious goals and the promises that we have made to our students and families, I need to be healthy. We all need to be healthy, and maintaining a healthy lifestyle is definitely something that I have at the forefront of my mind, because I need to be at my best for the students and teachers that I'll be leading. The other huge growth and learning opportunity for me was one of grace. There are many times where I wasn't really productive. I sat on the couch and ate things that I shouldn't have eaten, and wasn't as productive or diligent about my health as I should have been, and that's okay. I think we all need to have those moments. But what I've learned is that, I should extend the same grace that I so readily extend to others. And self-care has become kind of a cliche and somewhat of a buzzword during this quarantine, this isolation. But like I said previously, if we can emerge from this healthier on all fronts, physically, mentally, spiritually, then I think that's the greatest gift that we can give to ourselves, and the greatest gift to others that we encounter.
Yeah, so true.
So then on to question number 2. How have you responded to the situation? How has this whole thing kind of affected your plans? So what's been the response from you and your team?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the current state of our nation, and it goes beyond just the pandemic, right? The current state of our nation is not that's lost on me as a school leader and as a human being. From the pandemic to the racial injustices that have always existed, we all know still exist, but they are now being captured on video, and they're being spread on TV, on social media platforms. What we know about this is that now our children are being exposed and bombarded by this hatred, the devastation caused by, you know, the sins of our nation at a much grander scale than any of us on this call or anybody watching this video have ever been. And as a collective society, we're going to have to reckon with the social, emotional, and mental health effects and the aftermath of all that has transpired in just a few short months. I mean, you think about, you know, the pandemic, the you know, murder of Ahmaud Arbery, the murder of, you know, members of our trans community. Like, this has all happened in just the past couple of months, and it's happened previously, but for it to happen in this time, you know, that's very traumatic for our students. And so the students who are going to be coming to us are completely different, and so, you know, don't possess the same coping skills that we do. And so, you know,
yeah, I agree and disagree in that they can be more resilient because they see a hope. They're not as dulled as we are. So yes, it's a fresh, raw pain, but from that it's been very insightful. I have two young men that I'm raising up, and the perspective sometimes when they'll say something and I'll go, oh right, like I forgot what it's like to be. Sometimes I do forget what it's like to be 16, 17, 20 years old, because I'm old now.
You're only as old as you feel.
I'm almost 60. That's the litany in our house. You're almost 60. Which when I was 15, 16 years old was dead. I mean, right?
Right.
So it's yes that they're being bombarded, but I think, I pray, I hope that other parents are having conversations like I'm having with my kids, where we sit at the kitchen table and hash it out and talk it out, and who are you listening to, and what are you doing about it, and what are you hearing, and how are you interpreting that, and how does it make you feel, and that kind of stuff. I mean, we get a lot of rolled eyeballs because, you know, they're teenagers.
Because when you're 16, I mean, your eyes automatically do that. That's how they respond to whatever it is that you're saying, Mom. So
yeah. Right.
I think you're absolutely right. So, you know, kids are definitely resilient. You know, I've been in education for over 14 years, and I've been able to see that resiliency. And so, yeah, you're absolutely right. But again, we're going to have to revamp our programming, our social emotional learning to address those needs of our students who, you know, may or may not come from a good home life. And now that, unfortunately, an extended stay in an abusive environment, or a home environment that isn't conducive to, you know, the things that you're equipping your sons with, right? Those critical conversations to be able to unpack and really dissect what it is that they're feeling, they're experiencing. Some children just don't have that. And so, you know, that's where schools step in. That's where schools have to step in and really provide that additional support outside of just the academics, right? Because we're not just academic institutions. We have to be all things to all kids. And I'm so happy and so honored and privileged to be able to do that for kids.
I think that the pandemic has absolutely proven that fact. Because, you know, like before it was like, oh, you teachers, you're so whiny, blah, blah, blah. And now it's like, oh my God, I love that. There was a meme on Facebook. It showed a soccer mom's minivan, and the back window said, you said he was a pleasure to have in class. You lied. Right? Because people are getting a real close up, like, oh, it isn't just 2 + 2 is 4. It's have you eaten today? You know, I noticed that your shoes have holes in the bottom. Can we help with that? I mean, there's a whole world inside school that when it's gone, when that was taken away, people were shocked at just how much we have, as parents, as a society, have kind of foisted over to the school, because we're so busy trying to work and pay the bills and all that we've said, well, you know, you're there for 8 hours a day. Let them handle all that. And then suddenly it's like, oh, right.
I mean, we still have a lot of work to do, and in terms of education. And I think what this really did, you know, this pandemic really exposed the inequities that we all know exist in education. Not everybody has access, right? Not everybody has access from home. And so now we really have to, rethink and reimagine and re-envision. Maybe it goes beyond that. Maybe it's more, dismantling and making sure that all of our families, all of our students have a fair shake, right? While we've experienced a lot of challenges due to this pandemic, I think it's also important for us to, how do we ensure that if this happens again, that our families are supported,
Right.
our supported, our teachers are supported. And so those are the conversations, those are the things that I'm thinking about. Our charter application that we submitted to Albuquerque Public Schools was 369 pages. You heard me correctly, it's 369 pages. And I authored it in its entirety, and it's a vision of a school where I believe, and I know wholeheartedly, that our students, the students that we will serve, are going to grow both socially and academically. It's 369 pages of what has taken me years to conceptualize of a reimagining and a reengineering of what I believe the middle school experience should be for all students. And now, I'm taking a step back because, I have to re-envision this initial vision. And maybe, like I said, maybe it's more about dismantling and really just rethinking about how do we properly serve every demographic of the students that we will be.
Oh. Uh-oh, we have a freeze. Isaac, you've frozen. Hopefully he catches up.
Be educating.
There you go.
One of our core. How about now? Are we good?
Yeah, we're good. Go ahead. You're back.
Perfect. Wonderful. I hate when I freeze up like that.
Right.
That happens. But I was just saying that, one of the core beliefs of our school that we're really proud of is that we honor, we celebrate the identity and heritage and ambition of every child that walks through our door. We'll celebrate that every day. We will be unapologetic about that. But the thing that I grapple with as a school leader is that same identity that we celebrate, that same identity that we value and honor, may make you a target when you leave the confines, the safety of our school.
Mm.
And so, I have a huge responsibility, right? I have a responsibility to my students, my families, and the community to ensure that every move that I make, every selection that I make, every text that I put in front of our students is culturally relevant, is reflective of the students that we serve, because that's how we change the landscape. When we talk about anti-racism work, that begins at the school level. That begins with education. That begins with our students opening up a book, opening up their text, or reading a piece of complex text and being able to read about themselves in that. Where Black and brown history is not being whitewashed, or it's not being erased from our history books. So, those are the things, those are the moves, those are the decisions that I have to really be mindful of. Also, just thinking about the teachers and the staff that I will be recruiting, that I will be placing in front of our students. That's really critical. Do you share the same beliefs, the same vision that we do as a school? And so, I always hate when people say that schools can't be all things to families, because I vehemently disagree. I think this has proven that we absolutely should be all things to all of our families. Oftentimes families contact schools and we're the first access to public resources that they have. And so we need to be at the ready to make sure that we support our families. We're here to support the entire child, and that means their family as well.
Right. Yeah. That's an excellent way to approach the whole situation. I totally agree with you. So what does this look like then on the flip side, moving forward then? How, you still have a lot of work to do, and
yeah, there's definitely a lot of work so we'll take this entire next academic school year to really plan. It's called the implementation year, it's called the planning year, and we'll do just that. One word that continues to resonate for me during these times is one of hope. What we're seeing, like I said, being played out live on social media and on TV is the divisiveness that still plagues this country. And as a gay person of color, as an advocate for children, as a school leader, as an educator, am I an activist? 100%. you know, with a list like that, who wouldn't be?
Right? How many targets can you wear at one time? Right?
How many boxes do I check off?
Right?
And so, you know, I even with all of those boxes that I'm checking off, you know, I have to interrogate my own allyship. You know, how am I showing up both personally and professionally for the people that continue to be disenfranchised and marginalized? How can I continue to fight for the rights of others just as passionately as I fight for my own rights? And that's true allyship. That's the true definition of it. And I think that this is a defining moment for us all. My husband and I, you know, we continue to show up and we do our best to be upstanding pillars of our community, and we're unafraid and unapologetic to speak up when it's absolutely necessary, because we need those voices. We need those people in the room and in this space to speak up. And Pam, I looked on your Facebook, and you had shared a couple of weeks ago this graphic, this really beautiful graphic. It had a fist up and it said, you know, love hasn't won yet. And it certainly hasn't. It really hasn't. And you know, we can't rest, right? We can't rest. We can't let up until everyone is afforded the same rights. Professionally at Vos Collegiate, we lead again with that message of hope. We will take this year to reflect, to truly reflect on what's transpired in these last few months, to really help inform the decisions that we make as we continue to design the best school possible, so that all of the students that walk through our threshold that day one in August of 2021, that they're each fully prepared to reach their limitless potential, because they deserve it, and they deserve so much more than that too.
Right. How many classes are you going to have? How many teachers? What's the capacity? Do you know that at this point?
So year one, we're starting with 81 students. We'll start with 3 cohorts of 27 students at the 6th grade level. So we'll be recruiting and looking to fill those 81 seats here in the very near future. So we're incredibly excited. What we're looking at is a 3-teacher model. So it'll be a small staff. We'll have 3 teachers. Each teacher will have an instructional associate to help support the learning that happens in this classroom. So we'll be a small but mighty staff. And then by year 4, we'll be at capacity with 270 students. So what we'll do is we'll implement a slow growth model. So year 1, 81 students, starting small, starting conservatively, so that we can ensure that we're getting it right the first time.
Yeah. Wow. And when I imagine enrollment won't start for a while, but if somebody's interested in a teaching position or wants to be ready to be able to enroll, how do they go about, like, what's your time frame for that?
We'll likely start the recruitment process in August. We were just approved in March 18th, I believe, and then the governor shut down the state the following day. And so it's been an interesting, listen, this entire journey is interesting, as Pam mentioned previously, and it continues to unfold in very interesting ways. And so our timeline, so we've got a little bit of a much longer runway now. But we'll really start targeting student recruitment around August. A pretty large social media presence. So please follow us at Vos Collegiate Prep, both on Instagram, on Facebook. If you are interested or you have any questions about the school, I love talking about the school. I feel like this is all I eat and breathe Vos. So you can reach out to me at 575-605-3527, or you can email me at Rivas-Savell@voscollegiateprep.org. And you can find all our contact information on our website as well, and it's voscollegiateprep.org.
Wonderful.
Fantastic.
Wonderful, yeah. So do you have anything?
No, it's brilliant. I can't wait to see what you come up with and how well it works.
Yeah.
I can't wait to have
refreshing attitude towards it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I can't wait to have the chamber over and we can do a ribbon cutting ceremony and have you all over and a tour of the school. I'm incredibly excited. It's a privilege. It's a privilege to be able to do this work, to be able to educate students. It's an honor, and it's a lot of work, but it's worthwhile work.
Well, thank you, Isaac. Thank you. It's been a privilege to have you as a friend. It's been a privilege to have you as a guest on 3 Essential Questions, sharing this very important information for the Albuquerque community. Can't say enough for it. So thank you for all of your efforts and hard work.
Well, thank you, Pam. Again, thank you for all of your support. Erica, thank you for the humor, the dialogue, the entertainment today. So great start to my morning. I love it.
Yay, yay. All right. Well, everybody have a great week. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.